Welcome children, take out your history book. Today's topic is the Mauryas. Let me tell you in just the Mauryan Empire. Chandragupta was an absolute monarch and the most important decisions were taken by him. He was the commander-in-chief of the army and the final court of appeal. Kautilya also informs us that a group of spies kept the king informed of all that was happening in his vast kingdom. He also sent inspectors on tours every 5 years to check on the provincial administration. The king was also assisted by a council of ministers and a number of civil servants. The army and all government officials were directly paid and controlled by the king. The empire was divided into 4 provinces, each placed under the charge of a prince of royal blood. The provinces were further divided into districts and placed under local officials. He undertook welfare projects like construction of roads and also planted trees on both sides of the road. Rest houses and wells were also provided for the comfort of the travelers. Canals were dug for irrigation and trade flourished. Sources of revenue. The chief source of state income was land revenue, which varied from 1/4 to 1/6 of the produce. Sale tax, taxes on water, cattle, drinking, gambling, and custom duties were also levied. Fines were charged for the offences such as littering public places. The chief collector and the treasurer were the most important officials of the imperial government. Economic conditions. People were engaged in agriculture. Besides farming, the conditions were peaceful and encouraging enough to have led the growth of trade and industry. Apart from artisans like shipbuilders and weapon makers directly employed by the state, guilds for other craftsmen and workers were also established. A highway was constructed linking Takshila with Patliputra, which continued to the port of Tamralipti on the Ganga Delta, from where ships sailed to Southeast Asian countries. From Takshila, the road ran through mountain passes to Central Asia. Trade with South India flourished. It included conchs, diamonds and other precious stones, pearls and gold articles. Trade with the Northeast was mainly in horses, hides and woolen cloth. City administration. Megasthenes talks in glowing terms about Patliputra, the capital of the empire. Situated on the banks of river Ganga, it covers an area of 40 square kilometers. There was deep moat and high wall around the city for its defense. There were 570 watchtowers and 84 gates. Palaces and houses were also made of wood and stone. There was a municipal board of 30 members divided into 6 committees to look after the various branches of administration. Their work included registration of births and deaths, collection of municipal taxes, supervision of trade and commerce, sale of manufactured goods, industries and welfare of foreigners. The city was divided into 4 parts, each under a Santhika. The city also had a mayor. The other provincial cities were Ujjain, Takshila and Kaushambi, which were probably organized on similar lines. King Ashoka. Chandragupta was succeeded by his son Bindusara. We know very little about him. He ruled for 25 years and extended his control over Deccan as far as Mysore. Only the kingdom of Kalinga was unconquered at the time of his death. His son Ashoka succeeded him in 273 BC. Though Ashoka is known as the greatest king of India, the scripts was identified as Brahmi and it was concluded that Ashoka and the ruler named Devampiya Priyadashi were one and the same person. This inscription gave historians valuable information about Ashoka's rule and the extent and condition of the empire. Kalinga War. The turning point in the life of Ashoka was the Battle of Kalinga. Kalinga was the only kingdom which remained unconquered and hostile when Ashoka succeeded to the throne. It was important to Ashoka from a geographical point of view, since the route of South India, both by land and by sea, passed through it. It would also bring prosperity to the Mauryan Empire. It was for this reason that Ashoka attacked Kalinga. An enormous amount of life and property were lost in this battle. Kalinga surrendered, and for the first time in the Indian history, almost the whole subcontinent except the extreme south was under a single ruler, but the sight of the terrible carnage and the miseries of war filled Ashoka with remorse. He vowed never to war again. Ashoka became a Buddhist and devoted his life to Dharma. Digvijaya, not Dharma Vijaya, not Digvijaya, became the goal of his life. Decline of the Mauryas. The causes of the decline of the Mauryas are many. Number 1. After Ashoka, a succession of incompetent rulers weakened the central authority. Number 2. The governors of distant provinces took advantage of the situation and declared independence. Number 3. Administration deteriorated. The complex network of roads was neglected and fell into disarray. The adversely affected trade and communication between the different regions. Number 4. And finally, the lack of regular inflow of revenue or decline in its amount prevented the maintenance of an efficient administration, and the large army. Officers become corrupt, affecting the entire system of administration. The empire established by Chandragupta in 321 BC slowly began to disintegrate. In 185 BC, Pushyamitra Sangha of the Sangha dynasty overthrew the last Mauryan ruler, Brihadartha. And with this, I am ending my today's class. Goodbye.